Okay. Going to get this Friday started right. Lyle is going to start us off with an invocation. Lyle?
Good morning, everyone. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we humbly thank you for all the blessings of our lives. Truly, you have bestowed on us your mercy. Help us in some measure to be worthy of your grace. We would ask your blessings on this gathering, that you might give us the inspiration, the wisdom, and the guidance that we need to truly live the lives you would have us live. In your name we pray, amen.
And Steve, where'd Steve go? Oh, okay. Hiding from me. To the flag. States of America. Great. Thank you, Lyle. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Oh, it's so nice to have this. All right, I wanted to get things started first this morning, welcoming you all. We have a beautiful Friday morning, and I checked the forecast, and it's not going to rain till maybe noon. So we got a beautiful morning ahead of us. I wanted to get us started with a card that I wanted to pass around and have you all sign. Cindy Groniger, who is our wonderful member support person who sends out cards to everyone, right? When we're sick and need some cheering up. She just had foot surgery. So she's down for the count for 6 weeks. And so I thought it would be nice if we can get this card signed for her, but also if you think about it, you can just give her a phone call. You know, Cindy loves to talk, right? So give her a call or send her a text and just let her know we're thinking of her, because I think the surgery was Monday and she's recovering well, but she would certainly like she'd like your well wishes, and she wants to stay connected too. So anyway, card will go around. Also, because I wasn't here last week, I still feel it necessary to thank Ingrid and to thank Mike for hosting a wonderful Cinco de Mayo party. That was just the best. Let's hear it for them, guys. They opened up their homes to us, and as Mike reminded me, there was a little cleanup afterwards, but evidently it wasn't too bad. But we had great attendance, and so ideally we'll have another one of those parties coming up in the summer. Well, actually, that brings me to what's on your table. If you guys each could take a copy of this, it's real important that you stay abreast of the different dates that are coming up. And very important to know that we will not be meeting for the next 2 Fridays. So this is kind of the odd time of year when we have Memorial Day weekend, which we usually don't meet the Friday before a holiday. And then also, we will not be meeting the week of the Memorial Tournament. So next 2 Fridays, sleep in, enjoy. You will be missed though. Then we also have the installation party, which is our next wonderful party. The June 23rd, we will be meeting here for the installation itself. We will have our district governor, Price Finley, and we'll be installing the new president, and we'll be installing the new board. So Friday morning is very important, but then also Friday evening is when we get to have a party and really celebrate. And we'll be at Bonnie and Rick's barn again, which if you haven't been there before, is absolutely fabulous. And we hope that you come and that you bring a spouse, significant other, family member, what have you, to just help us celebrate. Also on this list, Meals on Wheels every Wednesday. We're looking for some help, especially because Cindy was doing one of those routes herself. She can't do that for 6 weeks at least. So really, guys, it's a simple process. We just need a couple more names on the list. It's a Wednesday where you go at 11 o'clock, you pick up. I think yesterday I delivered 6 meals. It didn't take me very long at all. It's all here in Dublin. So very, very simple. So please look at your calendars and see if you've got some time on a Wednesday in Dublin that you could do that. That would really help us out. I think Jill and maybe Lisa are helping us while Cindy's recuperating, but we need some help. Okay. And then also One Dublin is, Lisa's not here today. So One Dublin, we met on Wednesday and we picked up a bunch of stuff at their storage facility and took it to the free store over at the church. And once again, it was really a simple process. 10 a.m. you're there, you load up your car, you take it over to the church. And then Hallie was there. Thank you, Hallie, for being there. And then you unloaded and you put the clothes where they needed to go. It's very organized, very easy to do. So the next 2 dates are on this list, June 15th and July 27th. So we're looking for some help there. Okay. Pro-Am, John Susie, would you like to come up and give us an update?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Because that's the bigger date of all, right?
It's one of the big dates anyway. So we're in the home stretch. We're 12 days away. Met with the people from City Barbecue yesterday. Everything's on track. The house is almost ready. You clean up issues to do, but so a couple things. We need people who are going to attend. And I know a lot of you, and we keep repeating this every meeting, are buying 2 tickets. Please register on Eventbrite to let us know so we can get a somewhat accurate count on food and drink and everything else for that day. We're assuming that those people that have signed up, and there's still room for a few more that have signed up from outside the club, are going to attend. So we'll add that number to the number of members who are going to be there so that we have an accurate count. Secondly, parking, if you came last year, parking will be at Grizel Middle School up there where Grizel and Deer Run are. We're probably going to be using the Grizel lot because that's a little bit bigger that day. And there will be 2 vans that'll be shuttling back and forth. It's a short 5-minute ride. But anybody who you know that you've given tickets to, Susan talked about that this morning when I came in, that she had sent tickets, but obviously Grizel Middle School should not be a hard place to find if they're already up here. And it's thanks to the Dublin schools, we're using that lot that day, and it's easy transportation from there. But otherwise, we're looking forward to a great time. It's been a lot of work by a nice committee of people, Claudia, Jean, Peter, Joel Kretz, Paige Vornbrock, Mike Isler, others that have been on the calls. But we're in the home stretch. Dave Lundergan has done a tremendous job, and I know Dave is always working remotely and listening in on these things, but he's done a great job of organizing the meetings as far as an agenda. He even wrote out a whole speech for Susan that she's going to be presenting that day. So, and we look forward to a nice veterans ceremony as well, which is the whole purpose of why we're doing these things. So look forward to seeing you, because I won't be making this announcement again. And if anybody has anything, it's jdsusie@gmail.com if you have any questions as you go through.
John, just tell us one more time. We have guests that we want to register as part of our guests, but we also want to send links to a couple more people. How do we do that? I think we already have an email, right?
Gene.
You can do it through Eventbrite. If you just want to send it, but I would be happy to register you. And I've done that for a lot of people's experience in the community, so it's no trouble at all. Just send an email to Gene Oliver, all one word, @gmail.com.
Any other questions? And again, thanks to all of you that have been assisting in this process. And we look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, John. John, I knew there was one more thing I wanted to ask you. Do you still need volunteers to drive the shuttle? Or any other volunteer spots?
We still need a driver from 4 to 6 and one from 2 to 4.
Okay, so,
It's 2 drivers per shift. And, depending on how people get there, but it's nice to have 2 is better than 1.
right, so,
You need one to return. Not so much picking them up in Brazil and bringing them up that afternoon shift, people are leaving, we need to get them back to their car in Brazil. So
okay, so for those of you on Zoom, we need drivers, for the 2 to 4 shift and the 4 to 6 shift. So, other than that, I think we got things covered, which is just an amazing feat, so.
Claudia is their photographer for the afternoon. I believe so.
Okay.
I-
Okay, and Roberta, you got an announcement?
Yeah.
Come on up.
Yeah. Today is your lucky day because you're here and I need greeters. So I'm passing around this, yes, I will be a greeter sheet.
All right. And guys, greeters make a big difference to our guests. Yes, that's right. Calvin gets us started. So please consider being a greeter, and the hours, you just want them to come in at 7:15
to 7:45.
7:15, 7:45. So that'd be good.
Not bad.
All right, any other announcements? No? Okay, I think we have Susan Robinall as our Sergeant at Arms today. Susan?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone on Zoom. We have several guests here today. And when I say your name, if you would, please just stand. And we'll get through everybody and then just say a big thank you for coming. Ben Bring, if you could stand. He's with OhioHealth and one of our speakers. Luke Thomas. With Ingrid, a guest of Ingrid's. Scott Lewis, another guest of Ingrid's. You're really doing a great job. Michael Derby, who's a guest of Claudia's. Darling, I need my glasses. I apologize. And Rebecca Grant. And she's with OhioHealth as well. So. All right, so that's our guest list today. I have a couple of Paul Harris to award, which I just heard about yesterday. They gave them to me today. Why not start the day off with giving out new pins? So if Roberta and Mike could come up here, please. Let's see, Mike, this is +4 for you. So that means he has 5. And Roberta has 5. So here's the code to you. Thank you. For those of you who do not know about Paul Harris founded Rotary over 100 years ago. And it used to be a men's club that would meet at lunch and start moving around doing good stuff in Chicago for the community. So our 4x4s work a little bit different. We do $200 over a period of, 3 or 4 years, depending on how fast we want to move through. And our Rotarians put in $200 a year up to $800, and then our club matches $200. So to do it just a standalone is $1,000. So by doing it through our 4x4, it's been a great way to really capture a lot more people who want to be Paul Harris Fellows. And it's a much more economical way to do it if you only have to spend $800 versus $1,000. So I know that we have a ton of Paul Harris Fellows here. And I just want to say thank you. If anyone would like to sign up to be part of a 4x4 team, let me know and I will get you all set up on the process. So
I need to start my fifth, right?
absolutely, you got it, Roberta. You got it, you got it. So, couple of things I wanted just to let you know. I was told I needed to like talk a little bit today.
Well, our speakers are here now.
Oh, okay, well, never mind. Well, I just want to give you, how many of you got something from Jim Bandine yesterday? Okay, so everybody else needs to put in $1 because he got hacked or at least phished. And he needs to reset his password.
Oh,
So that's gonna be the only fine today. Oh, Happy Bucks too, okay. And I'm gonna do a Happy Buck, but I'm gonna do a big buck. I'm gonna do a $20 bill. I want you all to know, last week I was in Arizona for our national meeting for Stratus. And I was asked a year ago to be a presenter about Rett syndrome. And the Rett Syndrome Research Trust. And we raised, after my presentation, a total of $40,000 that day. So exceeded our $100,000 goal. And I talked to Tim Freeman, who's the CEO, and said, this can't be fully funded. It's never going to be fully funded until we find a cure. So up it to 150. So just a little bit of a brag, but this was great. It was a collaborative effort, and so many people came up to me after and said, you know, I have this child and I have this child. I know exactly what you've been going through. So it was very, very touching to me. I didn't cry, which I was like so freaked out about doing. I made it through, but there is a reason I did. One of my fellow advisors said, when you're up presenting, because she was at a meeting with a Make-A-Wish lady and talking about all these, you know, wishes or being granted to these kids with these horrible diseases. And she got asked, how do you get through speaking about these kind of emotional things during your presentation? And the lady said, when you are up speaking and you start feeling that emotion come over, you do a long E in your head and it totally takes it away. And I am proof that it works. Are there any other happy bucks? Yes.
Go ahead, Luke, because you're more important.
I just returned from Nassau where my son got married.
Oh,
So I have a new daughter.
All right. And Paige?
Well, I have a happy buck in the true spirit of the SEC. Our past president, Bonnie Naylor, is having a fabulous weekend because she and Rick are going back to the University of Tennessee campus. They're actually going for graduation. But I chatted with her and said, so you're going back to see Ball Land? And her answer was a capital yes.
Oh, how awesome. That's great.
I have a happy buck.
Okay.
Okay, my oldest daughter took a little bit of a wayward path, but she finally finished her bachelor's degree. So I'm very excited. So that's 3 down and 1 to go.
Wow. That's yeah. Time to celebrate for sure. All right. So our small pot today is $20. And let's see. We will always. And we'll enjoy you being coming and permanent. All right. Oh, boy. These are considered unbelievable. All right, so the last 4 digits are 2483.
Okay.
The large pot is 124, I believe. Oh, take the 20, take the money and run. Yeah, large pot is 124.
He's gonna turn it around and buy another phone.
There you go.
He will. One more time. All right, and the last 4 is 2470. Okay. All right.
What's that, Dave?
Grab my stuff.
Nice.
Do you want the money up here?
I'll take the money. Yep. Take the money and run.
And as we do our technical adjustments, I'm going to have Ingrid come on up and introduce our guest speaker. Ingrid?
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We have, as you might have noticed, we have emails that went out from Aaron with a very, very great biography on both of our speakers. We're very fortunate to have Dr. Bring and Dr. Grant. And if I could ask you, our speakers, to come on up. Please give them a warm round of applause and welcome. Dr. Bring and Dr. Grant are program directors for the Dublin Family Medicine, the residency program. We were chatting a little bit about that. That was very interesting, Dr. Bring. And they're going to tell us just a little bit about what they've done. No, we have a winner. Yeah. Wow. Susan, that's 2 times within the past 2 months. We've had winners. This is great. All right, great. So what they're going to tell us about a little bit about this morning is how they've used their residency program in conjunction with the Dublin City Schools. They have an in-service program that they're doing with the schools, and they do things for these students. And it started during 2021, and I was a little bit surprised when I saw the time frame that it started in. A very interesting story of how they brought this all together. And if you don't mind, go ahead and also share a little bit of your concussion discussion. That was fascinating as well. We're going to leave time for Q&A, and Bonnie said, keep the introduction short. They've got a lot to say. So with that, thank you both very much for being here.
Thank you so much. Well, good morning. My name is Ben Bring. I'm the program director with Dublin Family Medicine. So for those of you who aren't familiar, once you finish medical school, you have to do additional training, and depending on what you want to go into, whether it's family medicine or surgery or OBGYN. So we teach family doctors how to be doctors. So they finish 4 years of medical school, then they come and hang out with us for 3 years. So we started a brand new medical residency program back in 2016. We had our first class start in 2018, and this is at Dublin Methodist Hospital just up the road here. And we're about to graduate our 3rd class this year, which was we're very excited about. And we just matched our 6th class, where we take 6 residents a year. So we have 18 residents total every single year. So one of our big initiatives, one of our big things that we always talk about at our residency program is better serving the community in which we live in. So when we first got the residency program up and running, we really wanted to figure out ways in which we could go into the community and be more active in the community. My background is in both family and sports medicine. That's how we were talking about concussions a little bit earlier. And I actually got to present to the Granville Rotary on concussions a few months ago after the Tua. I don't know if anyone follows the NFL, but Tua had a couple bad concussions and injuries. If you ever want me to come back and talk about concussions, Ingrid, we can arrange that. And so basically the whole purpose of this is for us. We really wanted to better serve our community. For those of you who are familiar, the city of Dublin has a lot of underserved immigrant populations, especially as you go over towards Hard Road and over towards Sawmill Road. There's a lot of underserved pockets of population there. And so what we wanted to do was specifically target those populations to be able to provide kids with healthcare. One of the biggest things, especially at Davis Middle School and Hopewell Elementary School, one of the big areas of gaps that we found were in immunizations. So a lot of these kids were either behind on their immunizations or needed quite a big catch up on their immunizations. And what we found was a lot of these kids were missing, days, if not weeks of school because their parents either worked multiple jobs or they didn't have health care or they didn't have insurance. And so what we found was we were able to go into the schools in partnership with OhioHealth Sports Medicine to be able to provide care to the kids within the schools. So the discussions for this project first started in 2019. We had great momentum, and then all of a sudden March of 2020 hit, and then everything kind of got turned upside down. But we kept the ball rolling. We finally got the contract in place for us to be able to go to the schools to provide care. We do this at no cost, and I'm going to have Dr. Grant talk a little bit more about that here shortly as well, to not only the students, but also to the district as well. It's a really cool project that we've been able to put together, and Dr. Grant actually has submitted this to a few national conferences and has been accepted to present at national conferences as well. It's a really unique and innovative way of providing healthcare to our community. So it's something we've been very, very proud of. I know our residents are really passionate about this as well. Community service has always been something that's really been important to our program over the years as well. So that's kind of how this initiative all started there. So we've been very lucky. OhioHealth, especially Dublin Methodist Hospital, has been a big supporter of us, helping us to provide funding to pay for the vaccines, to pay for us to be able to go to the schools so that we can provide this at zero cost to the district. And then this year, one really cool thing that we've been doing is expanding our services. So we've been able to offer some sports physicals. We just did a couple of those for some of the kids last week, and then also doing some well child exams as well, so we can kind of get to know the population a little bit better. And it's really been incredible. I know Dr. Grant's we're gonna get some templates up here too, so we can show you some of the numbers and some of the things that we've been doing. So Dr. Grant and I, we joke, this is part of our roadshow where we're just trying to make the community of Dublin a little bit more aware of some of the things that we're doing. So we've had a couple of different presentations just to kind of share some of the things that we've been successful in. So I don't know, any questions? Yeah, Ingrid. Yeah.
Dr. Green, is the residency cycle like right about now?
It is. Yes.
How does that impact the schools of your program?
So it's actually a great time because the schools, I think, are they're finishing up here in the next week or two. And then our new residents will start in the middle of June. And then so we get them a couple of weeks to get up and running. And then once the school starts in August, first week of August, then we're back in the schools. And one really cool thing that we've been able to do is every Wednesday morning, we've been alternating between Davis and Hopewell. And this upcoming year, we've actually gotten it in the contract to be able to provide services to Dublin, Ohio. So now we'll be able to do all three layers of school. Some of our residents have also been doing some education there as well on food and nutrition and exercise. So it's been a really great partnership where we've been able to also go to the schools and do some teaching as well. Great question. Yes. They are. Great question. So that was the biggest mission of our program, was to create a program where we would train family doctors to stay here and serve the population here. So I am very proud to say our newest match class, all 6 residents were from OUH-COM. We had 3 from the Dublin campus, 2 from Athens campus, and 1 from the Cleveland campus. So we couldn't have modeled it better this upcoming year. But most of who we interview for this program, we really want them to have either Ohio ties or Central Ohio ties, because those are really the positions we're going to stay and live and work here. We're also proud to say that all 6 of our graduates this year will be staying and serving the Central Ohio area as well, which we're really excited about. One's doing a fellowship at Ohio State, but he'll be back and he'll stay in the area here. So great question.
We're having some technical difficulties, but
That's all right. Well, you know me, I can talk for hours about nothing.
we both can.
It's my right. Yes, that is true. That was always my life goal of going to Congress and filibustering someday, but I don't think they'd ever let me do that. Yeah, so so it's really our residents. It's a really great group. If you ever want, we could bring some of the residents by to meet the Rotary if any of you are ever interested. One of our residents who's actually serving with Dr. Grant on this project actually is a graduate of Dublin High School. His family immigrated here from Afghanistan when he was a child. And so it's a really cool kind of full circle for him to come back and be able to serve the school in which where he went to school. And he's actually planning on staying here and being a family doctor in Dublin as well. So we have some really cool stories. One of our attending physicians, Kostas, actually was a full practicing physician in Greece, and his wife is from here in Dublin. And so he actually came back. He actually had to redo his whole training. Unfortunately, in the United States, you have to redo your residency training, even if you've completed it abroad. So he was in our very first class here as well. And so he's a practicing physician here in Dublin as well. So we have a lot of really cool stories there. Yes, sir.
All funded by OhioHealth?
We are, yes. So I'll let Dr. Grant kind of talk about how we've gotten some of the funds, which, and that's the one thing, our leadership at the hospital has been very supportive of this project, which we've been very appreciative of. For those of you who don't know, we've got a new hospital president, we got a new chief nursing officer, and we got a new vice president of clinical affairs all within a year. And all 3 have been super supportive of our program. not only the residency program, but also the Dublin City Schools Initiative, which has been a huge benefit to the district. So I'll let Dr. Grant kind of talk about a couple of things here too about, some of the numbers and kind of how she's been able to really elevate this project. So you've been here, what, year and a half now with us? Yeah. So I still joke to this day, Dr. Grant was the best cold call I think I've ever made. I knew she had been practicing at Ohio State for 10 years and was interested in coming back to medical education. So I got her number from a mutual friend, and it's been a great partnership ever since. And we all strive to be like Dr. Grant on a day-to-day basis with that level of excellence. So I'm going to let Dr. Grant take it away here. Try to be a good hype.
He makes me
hype man
blush
for you.
every time he
Yeah.
says
Yeah.
something nice like that about
Yeah.
me. Good morning. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Again, I am Dr. Rebecca Grant, Associate Program Director for Dublin Family Medicine Residency Program. Thank you so much for having us this morning. I could not think of a more beautiful place to be this morning. Miss Claudia in the back was actually telling me that the Rotary Club has been very instrumental in the eradication of polio, which is aligns nicely with this topic that we're discussing this morning, which is our Dublin City Schools school-based health clinic. It's a long title. We want to make sure we get that right. So Ben talked a little bit about the inception. I'm just going to give you a kind of an overview of the logistics and how the clinic works and some of the impact and growth that we've had thus far. We really try to instill the importance in our residents of, as family doctors, it is not only important for us to promote health inside of the four walls of the clinic, but also out in the community. And this project actually allows us to do that on a monthly basis. We really aim to reduce barriers for students to receive the healthcare that they need. And surprisingly, we have a good number of Dublin residents that don't have health insurance and don't have access to healthcare. And many don't think of things in that way, but we aim to kind of target that audience with this clinic. Our clinic is held 2 times a month, staffed by 2 physicians, 1 resident doctor, 1 attending doctor, and we have an OhioHealth student that longitudinally goes with us. We started 2 years ago at Davis Middle School, really focused on giving vaccinations to kids that did not have school required vaccines up to date, but we've expanded to well child visits and sports physicals this year. And we're now at Hopewell Elementary. So I have some of the numbers here in my notes. I'm glad I brought my notes because I don't have my presentation. So the first year we did 5 well visits. This year, we've done 57 well visits and sports physicals. The first year, we did 92 vaccinations. Over 50% were school required. This year, we've given 190 vaccinations. And so we've seen some tremendous growth over this year with the expansion of services and really increasing the awareness to the Dublin community, parents, faculty of Dublin City Schools of what we do. We were very intentional in our efforts this year to increase visibility. We attended open houses, the curriculum nights at Davis Middle School, where we had the Wellness on Wheels van come and give COVID vaccinations to families if they wanted to get them. And we sent a video devised by our residents out to parents about the services that we provided. I would love to show it to you, but we can send it so you can see it. We have gotten a very positive response from parents about the services that we provided. I'm going to give you a few quotes of some of those comments that we've received from parents. Wow, you can give her vaccinations at the school? Sign me up. You can help? This is the best news I've heard all day. They can get their vaccinations here at school? How convenient. We are glad you're here, meaning our OhioHealth clinic. And so as Dr. Bring mentioned, we are planning to expand. We have goals and a bigger vision for this clinic. We are hoping to expand to other Dublin City schools. Our next venture is Dublin Scioto High School. So we're moving into the high school, which is my special space, my passion. I love working with teenagers. I worked at Nationwide Children's Teen Clinic as their lead clinic physician for 8 years. And so we're moving into the high school, so I'm very excited about that. We plan to offer free sports physical days in the fall and the spring to make sure that students can remain engaged in a team, because we know that's important for their development and to stay physically active. And then one of the goals that we had for this year was actually realized when we partnered with the health teachers at Davis Middle School to teach a portion of their curriculum to the students. So we had our residents, I think we went with 4 residents, a medical student, a behaviorist, and myself, to take over a 7th grade health class, and we taught the section on mental health. And so we try to provide a very interactive presentation with games and small group discussions, and really hear from the students so that they can master and be educated about mental health. And so we received an overwhelmingly positive response from our students in our final survey comments. So we're planning to do it again with the 8th graders in the fall. So you see, we have a lot of goals. And I think the biggest thing that we want to keep in mind is the original goal, which is to make healthcare convenient for families and to make sure that there are no barriers for the students of Dublin to receive good healthcare. We provide interpreter services for those that have language barriers and work intimately with the school interpreters to get consent and make sure that parents are fully informative and aware of the services that we provide and what we'll be doing. We promote health equity by giving these vaccinations and services to students that do not have insurance, which is a big part of our mission, and to keep kids in school and not have them miss school because they don't have these required vaccines. So this effort is a collaborative effort with the school nurses at Hopewell. We have Kim Brett Gartner and Heather Ash is at Davis, and then our own clinical nurse works intimately to kind of help this project all come together. And of course, our residents, it really helps to train them and instill that it's really family and community medicine. And they get to learn that concept during our training. So we just want to make sure the students of Dublin can utilize the wonderful education that Dublin City Schools has to offer them. I would be remiss if I did not thank the Dublin leadership team and Dublin City Schools, Mike Leopold, Chris Andres, and then our president at Dublin Methodist has been instrumental, along with OhioHealth Foundation, in providing funding for those students that did not have insurance and can receive these services. So if you are interested in donating or supporting or just learning more information about this wonderful project, please don't hesitate to contact us. We'll take any questions you have.
Yes, Jim.
Dr. Grant, I have one for you. Hey, thank you for coming. We've had Dr. Burke here a couple of times from our OU Medical School.
Yeah.
We've had Dr. Matt Kunar here to talk about early in the infancy of the program that you all are so actively participating in. I didn't know, as much as I'm involved with the hospital system, I didn't know what a well child visit was, and Hallie was kind enough to give me the play-by-play. Tell us a little more about it, and how do you go about the outreach? That's the thing that's fascinating to me. What is it, first of all? And then how do you do the outreach to reach these families?
Okay. So to answer your first question, a well child visit is basically a physical. So you know how you go to the doctor yearly to make sure that your preventative screenings are up to date. They check kind of basic things that tie to prevention. So your height, weight, blood pressure. We check on their eating habits. At this age, at a young age, we really like to target behaviors. So are you sleeping well? This is what good sleep hygiene is. Are you eating well? This is good nutrition. Let's talk about those choices and try to make an influence on them at a young age so that when they become adults, they're healthier. And of course, we give vaccinations during those well visits. So that's a well visit. This is kind of an overview of how we get students to our clinic. The school nurse kind of has a running list of students that need school required vaccines. We partner with her to get numbers and contact information for those families. We kind of work on two ends. Our office reaches out to those families. In addition to, she provides, we have a 614-5566 kids number that comes directly to our office for those families to call to schedule appointments. After the appointments are scheduled, we kind of reconcile the vaccine records. We work with the school to get their records. It's quite an effort before we go to the vaccine clinic every month. And then we get consent from the parents. This year, our medical student is doing a quality improvement project, which is part of what we're going to present at the national conference on how to increase the consent process, to ease the consent process. And so we have instituted electronic consents to go out to families. We send a text message and then it takes them to a link to complete the consent form. And we're in the process of getting those consents translated to make it easier for families. And so that's the real kind of pipeline into how we get students scheduled.
You get much pushback from parents about consent?
No, not for school required things. Yeah. Yes, sir.
What are the different vaccinations? I'm a little old, so I don't know.
Okay, so
I know when I was younger, but I don't know.
right. So school required vaccines are meningitis. For the middle schools, it's really meningitis and the tetanus vaccine. For our elementary kids, hepatitis B is required, polio is required, Hib, MMR, which is measles, mumps, and rubella, and varicella. Those are school required. We also offer hepatitis A and the HPV vaccine. And we offer pneumonia if they need it, but most of the time they age out of it by the time they hit middle school.
I guess I need to go back to school because I haven't had one.
You might not need them.
How do you coordinate your program with the school nurse then?
A lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and we touch base. We kind of have a monthly touch base with them every time we're in the clinic. So right now we go to Hopewell one Wednesday, and then we go to Davis one Wednesday. But we're in constant communication via text, email, et cetera. And there are probably 4 or 5 people on these emails. So because there's a nurse's aide that helps with this, the nurse, a lot of the resident that's going that day, and our clinical staff and front desk staff. So everybody's kind of on the same communication chain.
Last question.
Had a taught occupation relationship for many years. I'm aware that many medical students think that when they're doing the documentation, I want to thank you all for what you're doing, taking the initiative to incorporate the environment in which these kids live.
Yeah.
It's not just the child, but the parents and the availability of medical care. And you are reaching out and putting your arms around it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Dr. Bringing, Dr. Grant, thank you so much. You've really given us a lot to think about, and probably many of us, like Jim said, we haven't even really thought about immunizations, or the fact that you've got a lot of parents out there that are juggling 3 jobs, and how the heck would they ever get their kids to the doctor's office? So thank you for taking that practice to the schools. That's so important. Okay, guys, not going to see you for 2 weeks. I hope I get to see every one of you, though, on May 31st at the Pro-Am. That's going to be an amazing event. But I wanted to leave you with a thought, because even though, let's see, this weekend is not Memorial Day weekend, it's next weekend is Memorial Day weekend. And so I want to pause and think about those that serve their lives for us, and appreciate the holiday, not just because we get a long weekend, but because they've given their lives, service members have given their lives. But leave you with a quote from Unknown. Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it. With that, have a great weekend.
Pleasure.